That's when things changed drastically. Do I miss dancing? Yeah, I do. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexis Blake. I am a trans woman and I share my life stories and transition on social media. So basically, in one of my recent videos, I mentioned briefly that I quit dancing because of my transition and I didn't really elaborate on that, and some of you guys were curious. So today I'm going to explain why I decided to come out of the dance world whilst I was transitioning, and I haven't gone back into it since. We're also going to do our makeup. We're going to do this makeup that I'm wearing right now, giving very fall vibes to match my nails. Absolutely love it. So if you want to hear this little story, let's just have a little chit chat and do our makeup together and have a nice fun time, hopefully. Anyway, so let's get straight into it. We're going to flash forward to me with no makeup on, so don't be scared. Or jump scared, that's what I mean. So yeah, let's go. I very, very rarely start videos with no makeup on. I just feel really vulnerable. I don't know why. Makeup is my safety net, it's my comfort blanket, and I don't even leave the house without it on. Do your makeup with me, grab a drink, let's chill out. Someone also did comment, Alexis, stop telling me to get a cup of tea at the start of your videos. I drink coffee. You go grab a coffee, that's fine. I just went in with the Weleda Skin Food. I went in with the night cream, it's super moisturising. I've run out of the day cream, which is why I'm using night cream. Anyway, I'm bubbling. By the way, I have absolutely no idea what kind of makeup look we're doing, so we're just gonna go with it. I always do a winged liner, so I might do something a bit different today. All the products I use are high street drugstore, very affordable, because your girl's on a budget, okay? So I've just colour corrected with orange eyeshadow for my upper lip because I still have a tiny bit of shadowing. And the foundations we're using is the Maybelline 30 Hour Wear and the Primark Matte Me Over. I just mix them together because I just thought, why not today? I went to university and got my degree in dance, and then I went to performing arts school and did another 3 years. I was only going to do a year, but I ended up staying the full 3 years because I needed the training. I wasn't very good still because I wanted to become a professional dancer. It was always my dream and I wanted to follow that through and do it. And I was very lucky and fortunate that I could do that, basically. And I had my mum that supported me loads. To cut a long story short, I did 6 years of training, worked super hard, and then I got my first job on a cruise ship as a dancer in a production show. And it was amazing. It was the most fun. I was doing what I loved, and I just used to come off stage and I was just so happy that I couldn't believe I was finally doing this as a job and I was getting paid to do it. It was crazy to me. Doing something I loved and getting paid, and it was great. I did it for about 3 or 4 years. I think I was professionally doing it until COVID hit, and then everything stopped because of COVID. So I had a year and a half without any dancing whatsoever, which was tough. My body went out of shape a little bit, but it was fine. I tried to exercise and I was just waiting basically for the restrictions to be lifted to go back onto the job that I miss so much. L'Oreal Infallible Marlin Concealer in a shade that's too light for me, 325. I need to get a darker one. Before COVID hit, I auditioned and got a job that was for a resort in Greece. And I signed the contract and everything like that. We went out for rehearsals. We came back for a few months before the contract began, and then COVID hit and it stalled everything for about a year and a half. And in that year and a half, I moved back to my mum's and I was just living, working. I met Liam in that time and it was great. It was different to what I expected and it was a struggle, but it was just how things were meant to be, I guess, at that time. When all the restrictions were lifted on travel, we could finally go out and do the job, and I was so excited to get back at it. We planned for Liam to come for a long summer and stay with me whilst I was working, and it was great. It was absolutely great, and we had a good time. And then that's when things changed drastically. The base is almost done. I know I should love who I am without makeup on, and I do, but it just makes me feel better, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Bronzer, Revolution Pro Goddess Glow Cream Bronzer and the Blush Bomb by Makeup Revolution in Savage Coral, and I'm gonna give this face some definition because right now it's giving pancake. Couple of dots just there. Do I want to be brave and contour the nose? I don't know if I dare. No, I'm not gonna risk it because whenever I contour my nose, it just comes out looking muddy. So we'll just do this tiny little bit like that. This stuff's really pink, so I only need we'll do 2 little dots, that's it. I've just blended this side out and I need to use cream products more, but when I'm in a rush in the morning for work, I just skip them and just do powders and quickly put it on, but I think that looks so pretty. Let's blend this side out. So, where was I? Oh, I literally lose track so quickly. I got my job in Greece. COVID had lifted. I had some great times with my mum because I moved back in with my mum for just over a year and a half. And I was finally going to Greece. Liam came out for 3 months. And then one morning I woke up and my brain said, now is the time to transition. This is not enough. And I realised it was going to impact the lives of people around me, but I wasn't happy. Even though I was doing my dream job and I had Liam by my side, we were having a great summer, I just wasn't fully happy because I wasn't doing it as me. I was doing it as someone else. That's kind of how it felt at the time. And I very quickly realised that literally within a couple of weeks of coming out to Liam and my best friend, I knew that I had to transition. Get rid of the creases before I set it and forget it. It wasn't that I decided suddenly in the moment, right, I'm going to quit dancing to transition. It wasn't like that at all. I didn't sort of make that decision in one go. Initially, I was going to come home from the contract and there would have been around 6 months for me to get everything started, do the doctor's appointments, try and start medically transitioning with hormones. Then I wanted to go back and do the contract again, continually doing it as a man. Because obviously as a dancer, you're hired as male or female, depending on the role, basically. And I knew straight away I wouldn't look very feminine, so I thought I'll just secretly transition and continue on this contract and do it again. It was so much fun, and I wanted to do that. But I quickly realised that that was going to be incredibly difficult to do, and I'm going to explain why. So that's kind of when it dawned on me that I couldn't dance anymore, or at least for a while. Just a little bit. Do you know, I've tried this new thing. Oh, that's very dark. I've tried this new thing. I used to swipe bronzer all the way down, but now I just sort of concentrate it just up here, like from like where my eyes ends here. I don't really come much more forward than that. And I've put too much on. And then I just keep it in this top corner, and I just feel like it snatches my face a little bit, and it looks more it looks more natural by just putting it just up here rather than doing that. So I try and do that. I started to realise that with the contract, some of the costumes, for instance, we had a Tarzan song and we were all dressed in like little skirts with like ripped fabrics and the boys were topless. And I realised then that if I was to start medically transitioning, just with hormones alone, things develop a little bit and it would make things like that number very difficult. And obviously I couldn't just go on stage with things happening to my body. And that was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, maybe this is not going to be as easy as I initially thought. Let's highlight. I never highlight. I always forget about highlight. I'm just going in with the Cookies and Cream by Benefit. Let's add a little bit of highlight. Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Let's do a little bit there as well. Just a little bit there, and there, and there. Okay, we've highlighted everywhere. And there. Okay. I get distracted so easy. I just found this perfume that I haven't seen in ages, so I just want to put a little bit on. So, whilst I was still in Greece dancing, we had a lot of downtime in the day, and I would be like laying there sunbathing. It was great, but my head was like, right, so maybe if I go home and I'll get the doctor's appointments, and then I'll start getting everything going, and then my mum can mail me my hormones out, and I can do it this way and this way, and then I can hide things and figure this out. And it was getting so complex in my head, and I just quickly thought, this palette is such a throwback. Oh, that's just showing my double chin. How nice is that? Hello. I just don't know how I could work it. How could I secretly transition in a foreign country without any of my family and friends around and Liam, and not tell anyone and no one find out? And I also thought about my safety. Oh, that's pretty. It was kind of when I was finishing off that contract, I had another little Christmas gig. When I got home a few months later, I'd already started transitioning. I'd had my diagnosis and the name change. I wasn't quite on hormones yet, and I did my last contract as a male dancer. And I knew it was going to be my last one because transitioning isn't like a little thing. It's a huge commitment, and you have to do and change so much. And you kind of have to like find yourself again and find out who you are. And the little things like my voice and figuring that side of it out, changing that over time and growing my hair, and my body was going through all these changes. Being a dancer is very much about being on display in front of a lot of people, and I was getting more and more conscious of all my bodily changes. So I knew that I needed privacy. I did it very, very private to begin with. I got rid of all my social medias. I told a few select people that I was going to transition, and I just did it quietly. That's so pretty. That is such a pretty colour. Just used Sourced, and now I'm going to go in with He Devil. I'm feeling like a bit of a red autumn vibe. We've got the pumpkin spice latte nails. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm going to make it a thing because I absolutely love these nails. My nail tech slays every time. He put this brown underneath, like one coat, and then did the gold on top. And it kind of ties... Well, let me put this down. It kind of ties it all together. Do you know what I mean? I think they're stunning. I absolutely love them. I knew it was my last show. And when I was doing it, I was like, right, this is my last show. After this, I'm probably going to be done. I thought maybe I could go into it now as a trans woman. I thought maybe when you've transitioned or you're further down your transition, maybe you could go for jobs as a trans woman. But the kind of jobs that I used to do were cruise ships, like I said before, and resorts, and they have literal specific requirements. So girls need to be between 5'5" and 5'8", and boys need to be 5'9" to 6 foot. And I fell in the boy category for height. I didn't fall in the girl category. And things like clothing and costumes, a lot of the clothing on cruise ships are pre-made. They're continuously used year after year. So you have to hire people that fit in those clothes. And those clothes are like, not my size. I'm a size 14, UK 14, 12, but mostly a 14. And those clothes are made for sizes smaller than that. And my feet, none of the female shoes would fit. Like none, impossible. So just, and I know it sounds so silly, but it wasn't going to work. Yes, there are some companies out there that would maybe hire me, but the job options decreased so quickly when I knew I was going to transition. The auditioning part of it is so mentally taxing and so hard, and I knew that with transition and stuff, I didn't want to basically put myself on display in front of loads of strangers auditioning to get these jobs and get rejection and have to take all that whilst trying to transition. You might think like, why don't you go back into it now? And I was like, I just don't think it's for me anymore. I'm just gonna go on my waterline with the same colour because I am vibing with this fall eye. Don't get me wrong, I loved my career and I had a great time, and I feel like I did it enough to sort of satisfy that need in me, like to scratch that itch. I scratched the itch basically, and I wasn't walking away feeling disappointed or like I'd missed out because I had done it. I'm gonna dip between both of these two colours. I just don't think it's possible anymore. I don't know, maybe I'm just being negative, but me and Liam have a house now, we have our lives together, I have my social media stuff, I have a job, and I kind of just found this new life and I'm happy. I'm tired and stressed sometimes, but I'm happy. That's gone a lot darker than I expected, but I quite like it. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think I should have tried to continue doing it? I wasn't the best dancer, don't get me wrong. I wasn't like incredible. I was good enough to get jobs, but I wasn't anything spectacular. And that's not just me bringing me down. I had to work really hard for it. I was never professionally trained as a kid. I didn't start till I was a lot later in life. So I worked really hard to become a dancer. Like I said, I was never the best, but that never bothered me. It doesn't bother me now. I knew I wasn't the best. I was happy being in the background dancing because I was doing it because I loved it, not because I had a point to prove or I wanted to show off or anything like that. I don't know. What do you think? Should I have continued? I don't know. Right, let me finish my makeup and then we'll have the final thoughts. Okay, eye makeup is done. Used only this palette and then I just did my usual wing. Shade Whale by MAC, and it is a matte lipstick, and I don't have a lip liner to match, so we're gonna freehand it. Here we go. Okay, done. Okay, I like these lipsticks as a dry matte, so they stay on a really long time. I only normally reapply after I eat my lunch at work, and then it's fine as well for the rest of the day. Do I miss dancing? Yeah, I do. A lot. I miss being on stage, I miss performing. I think the dance world is a little bit old-fashioned in some ways. They want men to be men, girls to be girls, basically. And you need to look a certain way, and especially for the women, the standards, for women in any aspect of society, the standards are ridiculously high. And I'm tall and I'm broad and I'm a size 14 and I wouldn't fit the costumes and I wouldn't be what they are probably looking for. I feel like I'm on to the next chapter now, which is kind of how it had to be, I guess. I hope that cleared things up for the questions why I retired. I know it sounds silly saying I retired at 27 from dancing, but why I left that part of my life behind. And maybe one day, who knows? Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about this. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you guys in the next one, and have a lovely day. Bye.